Let's see here. Hey, welcome. How you doing? Welcome this morning. I was just getting on here to see how everybody's feeling today about what we've been told, uh, what we've seen transpire over the last month and a half, and try to kind of see what other people are thinking. Yesterday I listened to Joseph Allen's live when they first came on, and of course they had Bro Scott on there, and this was, I don't know, midday or something. I guess they were probably looking at Israel's time as a timepiece, and as that went by, that you could see the guys starting to wear down, and then they started talking about Bro Scott got on there because he had some information to give or he had something to add, and when he did, they basically kind of shut him down. Did you get to see it? Anybody? There's only one person in here. I'm trying to. I don't know how well a live will do at 9 something, almost 10 in the morning, but we'll see. Uh, I just wanted to get on here and talk about it and say that, you know, I've told you all along. Yeah, I saw it too, and then they started saying, maybe we should surrender the calendar and just watch for signs, right? And that's kind of what Jesus said anyway. Watch for signs. But one thing I do know is that when Noah and them entered the ark, uh, they were just told shortly before it's time to enter, and the door was sealed. Okay, so when we look at it like from a Noah example, he was told shortly before. However, he was given a heads up years before. But also, I was given a heads up years before, you know. But I was never given a date or an exact time, and so I would imagine if he was going to tell you, he would tell you shortly before. You would know. We just all know automatically, like they knew automatically, right? Anybody follow me on that? So if you were looking for signs, hey, blessings from Arkansas. Happy to see you guys. I'm glad you're in here, and I know it's early, so I didn't figure. I don't know how live will do, but it's growing. We got 14 people. We only had one a minute ago, right? But yeah, when they're talking about signs, hey, do I do welding? I do a small amount of welding. I don't know that you would want me to weld anything that you have. Why is it because of the hats I wear and stuff? Probably. Or maybe I look like a welder. Yeah. So yeah, yesterday it doesn't bother me. Okay, to watch dates. I don't come up with them. Yeah. Who was it? I can't think of his name over the Atlantis, but yeah. Anyway, guys, like watching the dates and stuff doesn't bother me. It just kind of excites me. It gives me something to look forward to that day. Whether it come or not come, I'm excited. You know. Oh yeah, any moment it's happening. That's the cool thing is that we also have like the double side of this, right? No man knows that day or hour. There's a double side of it, and it's not that. I mean, obviously, if 8 billion people on Earth picked a day, somebody's going to be right, you know. But I think when the whole community's looking towards something, and actually everybody was looking towards September 23rd and 24th, were they not? I mean, and excitement. We got this man online saying that he's 2 billion%. You know that Jesus appeared before him and told him that it would be September 23rd, 24th, which he was going off the Feast of Trumpets. But since then, guys, we've had what, three Feast of Trumpets, three Feast of Trumpets. Uh, the and they all moved from a new moon to a full moon, back to a new moon. I don't know what, four calendars: Gregorian, Julian, and they said Enoch, which kind of works off solar, and then they went to the lunar calendar. Now, I know God works on a calendar of some sort, right? And the, he did pick a day, and that will end up being a date. However, all the geniuses that are coming up with the different calculations and stuff, and I would call it genius. They got reasons why they're not just throwing some algebraic equation in there to figure out what they're figuring out. They just keep going. Oh, wait a minute, wrong calendar. Oh, wait a minute, wrong. Well, what do you do when the day comes and nothing happens? But the thing is just telling everybody that it's going to, right? And we know it's soon, right? Visions, visitations, and dreams that are happening right now. The outpouring is like when we're looking for signs, they're all there. Will there be some major sign that lets us know something is coming like within days? Well, they talk about the 3 days of darkness. I'm not much on the 3 days of darkness because I've never really been given anything on it. Hey, Sonia. But do you notice how, guys, it's brought a bigger community together? This community hadn't come together until all this started happening. Then all of a sudden we got this new side of things. People that are excited and trying to come up, figure out these guys. I'm not a numerologist. I don't sit down and calculate, and I don't even try to pull a calendar out and figure it out. But when I see these guys do it and what they've come up with, yeah, it's as exciting as anything else, right? Like as far as what else we got to go off of, they got a reason why they think it's going to be. I would say the largest one would be Joshua saying that Jesus came and told him this, and he sort of like kind of disappeared off the internet, but he never had a presence on there before, really. Yeah, I mean, I'm stronger from it. I'm more excited than I was previous to knowing that okay, it's coming this fall, and when this fall, I don't know. To all these people out of nowhere, you know, excited and coming up with dates and different reasons why. But one thing that I think probably stunts some of them is saying, "Oh, it's coming on this date. It's definitely coming on this date." You never hear me say that. I don't care if when you watch my videos, you never hear me say that. Who's making posts on it? Did anybody get a chance to watch Joseph Allen yesterday whenever he first came on live and Bro Scott was on there? Did anybody see that? Because I'll tell you what I saw happen. If you guys are interested. Post there on it. Yeah, I saw where they're making. I haven't read any of the posts, to see what he's coming up with. But yeah. So yesterday I watched or Joseph Allen's Rapture Radio, come on, and of course, I guess in the beginning they didn't come on till later on in that day, and everybody that uses Israel as the timepiece, I guess that time had went by, and so they all kind of had that vibe of, we're not going to worry about the dates at this moment. We're going to be looking for a sign, of which Jesus told you to do from the get go. Okay, there's nowhere in there that says, "Oh, if you set a date or you come up with a date, uh, that it's a sin or it's you know, a transgression or anything like that." It just simply says you probably won't know, right? Exactly. But however, do you not get excited? You guys get as excited as I do. Back to what Joseph Allen happened on Joseph Allen's yesterday. Are you interested in hearing that, guys? I heard one yes. Give me two or three yeses, and I'll tell you what I saw. Well, I'll just go ahead with it. Bro Scott was on. I mean, like immediately on the Zoom call with Rapture Radio, which is Joseph Allen and a few others. I don't know their names. And if you know the bearded guy on there, you've seen the bearded guy on there. Uh, Bro Scott come on there, and he had some things he had been mulling over, some kind of new something or other, whether it be something he'd been working out or some dreams he had, what have you. And it was something he was going to say. And one guy chimed in and said, "Let's just go ahead and say, let's we're not looking at any dates right now." Well, they shut Bro Scott down. And let me tell you something. I don't agree with that. And I love Joseph Allen. He wasn't the personal one who did it. It was the bearded guy. But they set rules on Rapture Radio. Okay. What rules can you put on looking for the rapture if you're really looking for it and you're looking for what would Bro Scott have come up with for maybe it was off a couple of days or something like that. We don't know because he didn't get it out. It shut him down the moment the moment they said that, and kind of like all kind of got a little collective agree. And then they went back to Bro Scott, and he was shut down. He was not interested in telling them what he had to say. I thought that if we came together as a rapture community, you know what I mean, together meaning like some of the we got some of the bigger names like Joseph Allen and all those, and then you've got Holly Two Moons, and then this one here, uh, uh, myself. Uh, Let me think of who else. Rapture, Ready, Moon, whatever. I thought if all we guys come together and we brainstormed that maybe between more than one person searching for it together, because they've been feeding off each other. They've been saying Joshua said this on this date, and then Sister Lingui said this on this date, and then what else is it? They were feeding off each other, different ones saying different things, and they were putting it all together for a big picture. When they aren't talking, meaning like I don't talk to Joseph Allen, I barely talk to Bro Scott here and there, just hey, how you doing, what's up? I barely, just in passing. But we all work off each other's work. But when we come together, then you get stuff like what you had on Joseph Allen's show yesterday, where they shut Bro Scott down. Does that make sense? Because when you get together, we all get together, then you start to get opinions forming and rules forming, and that's what taints the message. If we're going to let the spirit flow, then shouldn't it flow freely? Like if none of us know each other and we're working off of each other's work, and you come up with answers and stuff through each other, and then you get together and then opinions start coming together, and like say Bro Scott was shut down immediately. You could tell it, you saw it in his face. He barely said anything after that and got off there. What did that tell me? I don't want to call Rapture Radio, not myself, because I don't know that I couldn't buck up and say something to them, like, hey guys, keep your opinions out of it, okay? As far as we're interested to see what the next guy's going to say. If you don't have it, then let hear him out, right? Anybody else agree with that? You know, and I'm interested to see what Bro Scott was going to say. I looked, I didn't see him come out with anything yesterday. He was just on Zoom call, and you could see he quickly got off of it and got out of it. He retracted. And if you want to, guys, you can go look at that. It's at the beginning, I think, of his live yesterday, which would be still, you can still look at it. You know, I agree with Sign. Yeah, we will know shortly before. It will be in this season. You'll just know something will. He'll approach you in some kind of way. Okay, just like he's doing the dreams and visions and visitations right now, where he's showing himself and saying, "I'm coming soon." Well, Noah and them knew that the boat. They knew about the flood for a very long time. You know, and but there was a time when they entered it. The ark was finished, sitting there with the door open, and they were still talking about it. It was like, oh my gosh, you built this monstrosity. Look at this abominable looking thing, and nothing's ever going to happen, right? But shortly before, they were told to enter the ark, and the door got sealed. So they knew shortly before. So if you could say anything, uh, let's say the flood started about 7 days after the door was sealed. So you got about 7 days before no one knew to get on the ark. Then the door was sealed, and then 7 days after it. And I'm not making up any numbers or anything. I'm just telling you that, as you can see, there's a pattern here of he knew for a very long time, but he didn't know exactly when to enter the ark. Okay? So at some point, you know when to enter the ark for the door to be sealed. I would say we're all on the ark now, waiting for the door to be sealed. How long? Is anybody going to get it right? Well, I've looked. Yeah, that's what it is. The Holy Spirit's going to let you know shortly before. That is just a given. That's a given. I've known that all along, but I get in trouble for encouraging these guys with their dates. Okay. Well, it is prophecy that they would do this. Rather, they never said they would come up. And it says they'll run to and fro for the answers. It never said they'll run to and fro and get the answers and figure them out. Right? So it's still prophecy that they're doing so. I just find it personally fascinating because of my own story. And if you guys want to hear it real quick, I've told it many times, but Elijah the prophet came to me 10 years ago and told me it was during the month of around October-ish, close to the end of October. He told me we had 10 years left. Now, he told me many more things than that, but that's the main thing. And I wasn't told to tell everybody. I wasn't told to go scream it from the mountaintops. I just freely told it, okay? So nothing in me was ever told to run and tell it. I just think that God knows I'm a big mouth, and if he gives me a message, I can't keep secrets. Don't tell me a secret that you want everybody else to know. I just, everything in me wants to tell it to somebody. But yeah, so I was told that. So leading into this, it, it I wasn't actually, I wasn't expecting all this. I did expect something, obviously, but I didn't expect Joshua to come out and Sister Linguine and then different ones. Uh, yeah, and I believe I definitely know that it's this season. Now, as we can see, we've been through 4 calendars. That means there was 4 calendars out there that we weren't previously paying attention to or aware of. Even if you're aware of it, it didn't make sense until we were trying to, um, figure the dates out. Or I say figure the dates out. My way of figuring it out is just watching other people do it, watching the watchers come up with dates. Not all of them do it, but these guys are extraordinary, wouldn't you say? Pretty extraordinary. And if there wasn't something to it going on, then there wouldn't be people being healed on Joseph Allen's broadcast right in front of you. You know, a guy that was paralyzed completely got unparalyzed while we were watching. That the unholy spirit don't heal. The Holy Spirit heals. Okay, so we know he's there and we know he's involved. And I'm not upset with Joseph Allen at all. He didn't say it, but he did sit there and listen to it, and kind of go along with it. Um, but no, they're great guys, and they're just excited as we are. And as their date that they were for sure of went by, now this is their fourth watch. Is that what they call it? The fourth watch? 4 calendars, the fourth watch. Well, what do you say? You know. Uh, I want to hear anybody else. And you guys, I'll stop and read for a second instead of running my mouth because I can't seem to do 2 things at one time. But anybody got anything that you've come up with, or have you seen anything lately that says something else? I did. I saw Dr. Anybody know Dr. Barryall? Anybody like his little Dr. Barryall and Mr. Bones? You know. Well, he was off there for a week or two, and he come back out yesterday, and he was looking towards, I think his big number is 117, 11-7, and he's got some reason why he goes through it. So if you want to go watch that one, I'm sure it's the only one he's had out since. But he went quite a long ways through it, and if you can get over Mr. Bones and all that and just listen to him, he's been saying this number for a while. I've heard him saying it. Okay. There's something about that 117. And so he seems to be looking towards November 7th as a possible date. And he said if it doesn't come to, he'll look towards the next one. And what are we supposed to do? You look towards the next one, right? It didn't come this time. Look towards the next one. Luckily, we're in that season where there's a lot of next ones. Here it is. You have, if you're on your third Feast of Trumpets, what are we on, the third Day of Atonement coming? The third time of the Feast of Tabernacles. There are 3 feasts in this deal, and we obviously we know that the Jews that celebrate it over there or the feasts, they're on the wrong timing because God said they are. None of their feasts are accounted for because they're on the wrong feasts. So we know that much. Okay. Then what else do we know? We know that the feasts are, the feasts are, as you say, 3 Feast of Trumpets. Well, then you've got those days that come afterwards. Now, I don't know where we're at on this Feast of Trumpets, when they said it was or when they believe it was. But I've been watching towards the moon. Like, when I say, exactly. And this has been the most active, when you say the most active year, the active fall for people just can't let it go. That's the part that excites me. They just won't let it go and still won't. And I'm not going to let it go because I know, regardless of, I can't make you know, but if you'd had the experience, because I did have the experience. How did Elijah the prophet come to me? Did it line up with word? Would you guys be interested in that, where I could show you it lines up with word? My experience lined up with word. My experience was different. When you say a visitation, that means that something in the spirit came to visit you, right? When you say you had a dream, you were asleep, and he came to you in a dream. And those are usually pretty extraordinary because they have just, wild looks like, oh, there was a big time clock and it was floating through the sky, and then I saw this, and then we just try to kind of figure out what they're talking about. Well, and then what else? Visions. So you see a vision of sometime in the future, but you don't know what time it is, right? You're just like, I saw these things happening, but trying to figure out exactly when they're supposed to happen, it doesn't quite work that way. Okay. But mine, however, when Elijah the prophet came to me, it happened in 2015. I wasn't expecting it. My son started talking different. And for over 3 weeks, I followed him around like a little child. I could not get enough, guys. I could not get enough. Um, I was told amazing things. There's some things that I usually probably won't remember unless somebody brings something up and I'm like, oh, yeah, he mentioned that, because it's been a long time. All right. Feeding the chickens. But anyway, so my experience when does it line up with word? Well, what does the word say? Let's go on and take a look what the word says about this particular experience. Now, anybody can say, oh, yeah, it was talking about this or it was talking about that. I'm sorry, but you can't take my experience away from me. You can never steal my crown. That was my experience, just like visions and all these are all their experiences. But mine was through my son, through another person, okay, with witnesses of this going on during the time. During the time. Um, well, anyway, so my wife's in here and she's bouncing around, so just give me a second. It's okay. But anyway, so does it line up with the word? Well, I'm just going to go to the one place that it spoke of many times. Jesus spoke of it. And everywhere that it says they assumed he was talking about John the Baptist, and he was. Because the spirit of Elijah, you can't put it in any one thing at this time. Because the spirit of Elijah has been traveling this earth for a good while. Uh, but here it is. Here's where mine lines up with the word. Final warning. A final warning is what it says in my Bible. A final warning. It's the bottom right here. And it says, remember the instructions of Moses, my servant, and the statutes and ordinances I commanded him at Horeb for all Israel. Look, I'm going to send you Elijah the prophet before the great and awesome day of the Lord. This one says awesome. A lot of them say dreadful. Okay. And it says, he will turn the hearts of fathers to their children. Some of them say sons, some of them say children, and the hearts of children to their fathers. Now, I would assume more people had this experience than me because it does say it plural on both ends. I had a guy tell me lately from South Africa that we had the wrong versions and that their Bibles don't say fathers to their sons. It says father to his son. Well, anyway you put that, I had that experience, okay? Hey, Kim. Hey, Mariah. Glad you're in here. And we were just discussing basically what's been going on with the dates. And obviously I haven't seen anybody put anything else out. I did hear a few people talking about this next week, a couple weeks ago. Okay, what?
Just hand me that sticker. I'm sorry, guys. I had to get an order out.
So, where was I at? I don't even remember what I was saying. Um, we're just kind of mulling over the dates and trying to figure out like, hey, what's happened here? Where do we go from here, right? As far as like You just go. Is the community giving up? Are y'all giving up? Because I'm not giving up.
Can't give up on Jesus.
Right? He's never failed me. He never gave up on me, and I'm not going to give up on what he's doing. True, true. I've heard that one too. You know, uh, everything was likened to the day of Noah, right? I mean, so we do have Noah to look at. And one thing I can say about Noah is Noah came well before the feasts. There weren't any feasts in place at that time. Appointed times were set during Moses' time, right? Long before Noah, or long after Noah. So, yeah, I mean, there's a pattern there that I watch, you know. And I also noticed that we seem to be going in reverse. Is this not some type of a matrix? I had I don't know if it was a theory or a revelation a long time ago that it's in reverse. See, from the first Adam, we got death, to the last Adam, we got life, correct? Now, the first will be last and the last will be first. So, looking at a matrix, I was thinking for a long time we were waiting for the last Adam, which would be the original Adam, to be born. Does that make sense? Or to be brought to the Lord or whatever. So it would be a reverse type thing. So the first Adam will be the last one to enter heaven. Does that make sense? Is it kind of getting what I'm saying? Could be. It could be. You know, and I heard something interesting about Egypt yesterday. Something's going on in Egypt today. They're opening up a museum, and I forget exactly what's going on there. All the world leaders are there. Uh, they're supposed to be revealing a lot of stuff like giants and Nephilim, like bones they found. But they've also said that they found the bones of Jesus, which is, you know, that didn't happen. So, you know, whatever they're doing is not normal. But it was talked about later on in Joseph's show yesterday, and it was kind of interesting when I saw him come up with. I think there's like a 10-minute clip of it. If you pull up his shorts from the video, you'll see it. And there's a sign. It was a sign that they were looking for. They were kind of excited about just getting a sign. Well, we've been getting signs a lot lately, right? I mean, we knew we would get wore out by the time, you know, like, Jesus, come on, please. I mean, look at Job, how he sat there. Job sat there losing everything, all in just a leper and uh, sores all over his body, and just not knowing what he's done wrong with God. And that basically almost giving up, you know, he's just almost give out. And then it got fixed, right? And then everything happened and he got everything back, you know. So will we be pushed to the limit? Of course we will be. The testing period's not for him. He's not testing you. He's showing you what you'll do. He already knows what you'll do. He already he already knows what test you're gonna, you know, how you're gonna do on the test. But you have to know how you're gonna do on the test. Otherwise, you think you're strong and ready and well, right. That part of the test is these dates, right? Which one you gonna give up on? Which one is your oil gonna run out on? Like the 31st went by. Should I just go? I forget it. Uh, I worry about let my oil run out, turn my lamp down, and just not pay attention. Then what? Then I'm gonna be like that homeowner that the thief came in there and robbed him. Why? Because he wasn't paying attention. No, I'm gonna continue to pay attention. I don't know how long is this equinox. Anybody got that? What is this autumn equinox? How long does it go? Anybody got that one? I would look it up, but the computer's off and my phone is. I'm talking to you guys on my phone. But anyhow, yeah, I don't know how long the fall equinox goes. I think it's up into sometime in December. But until the fall equinox is over, I'm still not. I'm not scratching my head, right? So, what? Okay, there you go. So that's when the fall equinox ends and the winter solstice comes in, right? It's winter equinox. So, if I was told in the fall in that equinox, then I would figure it could probably be any time within this equinox. Would that be a intelligent thing to say? I mean, and I'm just going off of 10 years ago being told in the fall that this was the season. If we even understand the seasons, I hope we do. I don't think you can get around the different. There was 4 seasons, even the Enoch calendar. Hey Kim, all right, Kate, watching from Germany. I'm glad to have our Germans in here. From Brazil. Wow, we got quite a different array of people. Yeah, that came together. They all kind of like have their different reasons. We look at Jacob's trouble, time of Jacob's trouble, the 70th week of Daniel that they believe is started or about to start, whatever. I've paid attention to all of it. But so many things have been said. Now I'm kind of like, I don't remember exactly why I don't even remember exactly why we were watching for October 30th and 31st. I just know that that's what they said, and I'll go with it. Hey, High Watch Day. Is today a High Watch Day? Of course, but uh, it gets more people excited. And I always tell you, hey, all right, California. We got California in here, Brazil, Germany, uh, and I've seen quite a few others. That's exciting to me. I'm glad to have different people chiming in. I would love if I could have you guys on the screen and we could all just talk. You know, see what you guys are thinking. The Independence Day, KKK. What's that? What's that, Isabel? I'm not real sure what you're saying there. From Norway. All right. We got from Norway, Brazil, Germany, California. So I don't know. Hey, I don't know. I was waiting just like you were, excited. I said all along, guys, uh, it's kind of, we were taught basically, I learned a long time ago that Genesis has been kind of going in reverse. So you go back to Genesis and you read it and you see from the story of Noah, things going and back in reverse. So I'm like, okay, if we're in the times of Noah, his father was Lamech. Lamech lived 777 years. Now, Lamech's father was Methuselah. The flood didn't begin until Methuselah passed away. Okay? When Methuselah passed away, took his last breath, the flood began. Methuselah was the longest living man in the Bible. It was 969 years. Okay? And it was to show God's ever loving patience with us that he gives you every chance, all the way up to the last moment. He gave him all the way. That shows that how long uh, Noah had been preaching this for ever how long. His grandfather was present, because these guys all knew each other, right? waiting for your star to rise. Hey, and how do some of you think the rapture will actually go? I mean, is it going to go the way we think it is? Seems like nothing else goes the way we think it is. Every experience I've ever had through 'em was mind blowing and wasn't the way I thought it was going to come. You know, in fact, I didn't even know it was going to come until I read it afterwards and go, that happened to me. You know, how many of you done that where you're reading the Bible and it suddenly starts to seem like it's talking to you, like directly to you? You know, usually I can get in the Bible and go about, if I read about 2 or 3 pages, it'll end up talking to me and telling me something. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, Joe. So, anyway, back to Methuselah. Now, Methuselah is a timepiece there. We know, like, if we're at the moments, then we're at the moments that Methuselah would take his last breath. Now, if we're rolling in reverse, does anybody know who Methuselah's son was? I mean, father was. Anybody want to speak up? Anybody know who Methuselah's father was? I'm not going to allow you time to look it up on Google. That's not fair. Uh, it's Enoch. So if we're kind of going in a reversal and watching these things, then the next step would be going backwards. If we're looking for Methuselah to take his last breath, then going in reverse, then now we're at Enoch, and Enoch was raptured. Makes sense? Kinda. I mean, really, there's no sense in it. It's just my personal. Thank you, thank you. But guys, it's the thing about it is just staying excited about it, and knowing that we all know he's coming soon, right? How many of you have had dreams? How many of you had your own dreams and your own confirmations and all that? Yeah, it is. I mean, I'll tell you back years ago when I started reading Revelation until I started having Revelation, and you know it was quite an experience. The book became alive, and it's still alive today to me. If I'm searching for a message, all I got to do is open it up for a second. I know the Bible. All I got to do is be geared towards something. But I'm not trying to cheerlead on a bunch of dates that. Now, I don't cheerlead for the date. I do cheerlead for our people being ready. I do cheerlead for, hey, this could be a possible date. Could it? You see my thumbnails. Could it be? Could this be the day? Will this be the day? Is this the day? None of it says, you don't see nowhere on mine where I say, hey, this is the day. Get outside, be prepared. Lord, get your lamps fired up. This is the day. I've never said that, you know. But I can tell you that before this equinox is up, it's going to happen. That floats out about 4 months there. You say September, September 21st to 3 months at least, right? Of could happen at any time. I personally, now I was thinking, well, I guess these guys could be right. If it would be at a time, wouldn't it be at an appointed time? But don't you think that when it happens, that's going to be an appointed time? It's going to be your appointed time with your maker, you know. No one said these feasts had to be it, you know. Uh, Literally, there were no feasts in Noah's time. Nothing observed. So what do y'all think? Huh? Any good ideas? Anybody been watching anybody that came out with anything? I think we should press Bro Scott to go on and say what he was going to say yesterday, but not on, you know, the Zoom call. So if anybody knows him personally, I don't. I know he may watch some of my videos, may, what have you. But I would encourage him to come out and say what he was going to say. I want to hear it. What I I tend to like what these guys come up with because they have a lot of reasons behind it. And look, we're on a man's mind trying to figure out what God's doing. No, well, me and my wife live together in the hills, basically, not the mountains. I've lived in the mountains before. Hey, Revelation chapter 12. I'll have to take a look at it, but let's take a look at what you're talking about. Keep the old trusty Bible right here. I'm not as keen on this version, but I'll still go with it. Let's take a look at Revelation chapter 12. And we'll take a look and see what you're talking about. Anybody else interested in what he's talking about? Something that'll happen in California. Oh, the woman and the dragon. Okay. So hey, this is chapter 12, and chapter 12 is quite long. What makes you think that'll happen in California? Maybe I don't understand, and what Madonna has to do with it. I don't know. Don't know. Uh, I don't get that. Of course, it looks like a copy and pasted twice. All and you have I don't know what you're getting at. There's things happening all over the world. I mean, we look at Israel. Look at Israel. Trump goes over there and signs a peace and safety deal, and it didn't last 5 days. Sudden destruction, right? I mean, not. Now we didn't say it's happened yet, the sudden destruction, but they called for peace and safety, and it didn't happen. So Trump can go over there and shake hands with these guys, but these guys have no honor. Does that make sense? So though Trump has honor and believes in a handshake and believes in somebody's word, their words are no good. They'll lie just as quick as anything. Hey, it very well could be. California has its place. That is the um, richest state in the world, maybe probably, as far as and all of the bad things that go on there, all the horror, and it's run like crap. What are they saying about Three Eye Atlas? I haven't heard the new news about Three Eye Atlas. I know that waiting on the solar flares, Kim. Uh, I don't know if we're still in that range where on the other side of the sun, when Three Eye Atlas was headed towards it, it threw off four big solar bursts, so it solar flares. If it does it when it gets on this side, and the that side of the sun is facing us, and it does the same thing, we go dark. So you believe that to cast stars to kill the man child, but he is caught up. Okay, so I guess I'm not familiar with the dragon cast stars. I'm not. I don't. I don't know exactly what that. I'll have to look it up. Um, well, I mean, one of them, but not. How did you know that? What made you ask me that, Isabel? I want to know because I don't talk about that, or announce it. So I'm not going to lie to you though. So just by you asking that makes me I'm interested in what you got to say there. Yeah, yeah. America has her place. I've always kind of thought that America was Mystery Babylon, you know, because it was talked about before it was really known about, and at the time I guess that we know of, and all the characteristics of it kind of sound like America. You know, the whole world has swindled her. Look at we're in this situation because everybody was trying to get rich. People cross seas. All of our politicians, they're millionaires and billionaires now, and they weren't that when they got in office. So they have swindled the riches. I mean, over the years, from about the time I would say the Clintons got in there on, you start noticing that everything we were wearing had China on the back of it for years and years and years and years. And now they're trying to reverse that. Yeah, I believe I'm with you on that, Joe. I believe Mystery Babylon is America. I've been thinking that for a while. Does that make me right? I mean, who knows? I just looking at the characteristics, and the only thing that I can put with that is America. None of the others have. America's a America is a experiment. Okay, they just let all peoples come in here and melting pot when we weren't supposed to be together. We were split apart for a reason. I mean, now they all come together in America. We're only 200 and something years old. Like you hear Putin talk, he can tell you about 3,000 years of history of the Russians and how they went through this and that and this and that. Us Americans, we've only got. Now just think about it. Your grandpa's grandpa was one of the people that came over here. You know what I mean? Not that far back. We don't go that far back. So I would say that this melting pot that isn't working anymore, our form of government doesn't work. It obviously doesn't work. Trump is trying, whatever he's doing, but it just don't work anymore. I mean, when you're 30 something trillion in the hole, how do you get out of that? How you get out of it? You can make it a little better, but you're not going to get out of it. You know. Hey, Lisa, how you doing? We were just discussing what we thought about yesterday and the different dates and seeing what everybody's thinking. No, Isabel, was that a joke? That was a joke. I didn't know. I was ready to talk about it. I just was waiting on you to say something. No, it's not bad. We're okay with jokes. We just yeah. I thought about that theory too. Maybe it's America's not the only one doing bad right now. If you watch all of it, you see riots in every one of these places, and they're literally Europe's already switching over to IDs, like some form of IDing system that you won't be able to buy or sell without it. So Europe's ahead of us on this, and we usually follow them and whatever's happening there here. Yeah, Lisa, can you bring that up? Because I talked about it for a second. I heard it on Joseph Allen's clip short yesterday, but I wasn't highly in tuned to say what that was. Now, I know, so if you're talking about that museum they're about to open and all that, is that what? Yeah. What do you think it's going to be? It's going to be a chip or something under the skin that allows you to be able to purchase and buy. No, they'll call that, they're doing it for your own safety, right? And people will jump on board because they can just tell you anything, you know. Oh, it's for your own good. It's somebody can steal your identity, and it'll be for those reasons. And people will go for it. They go buy the new Apple phone every time it comes out, right? Well, that's crazy. What's that about? Like, didn't they say? I think they're saying that they have the bones of Jesus. Is that one of the things that are being abominable things that are being said? Or is it just mummies and which Nephilim, which they what it is they're I know what it is. I just thought about it. Okay, what it is that they're honoring and showing the Nephilim and fallen angels. Uh, they're going to be on display, and giants and these things when they've been hiding giants for a minute. All right, Isabel. I was ready to answer your one of the witnesses. Yeah, see, they didn't find the body of Jesus. It's so they're gonna put it out there like that, and think of how many people are gonna be confused by that. Think how many people that's gonna stop from even looking towards Christianity or whatever. It's not about us. We know that he's not there. We know that it's false, but these young people will go with whatever comes on the internet. Oh, they found Jesus' bones. He wasn't raised from the dead, right? So yeah, they're over there doing rituals, and a lot of world leaders are there. This is got its place, most definitely. It's got its place, and it does mean something. And Jesus is not going to allow this to keep happening. Uh, One of the major indicators that lets me know where we're at, as far as how close are we? How close are we before these things will come to an end? Well, we've been told all year that AI is going to be something different at the end of this year, right? It's going to go from chatbots and this thing to being super AI. And the next step from that, it moves so fast because AI is working on itself that that means you're just months away from what they call uh, godlike AI, meaning 1,000 times smarter than man. I don't think we really want to be here during that, right? I don't think Jesus would leave us here for something like that. You know, I sit here and watch my TV and don't know what I'm seeing is real or not, even if it's live. That's pretty deceiving. Thank you, Mickey. I appreciate that. God, hey, Jesus says the same about you. You know, he cares about you and he cares about all of us, right? And I just want you guys, your well-being to be okay. And I've said all along, if you can't watch the dates and not get frustrated, don't watch them. You know. Yeah, exactly. You know what? You want to? I've been asked. Uh, it feels that way sometimes, don't it? You know, when you look down and you see it advertise something you were just talking about, and the phone's got it on there. Can they? I don't know. Everything works off frequencies, and we run off of a frequency. And if they've tapped into that, they might not know exactly what we're thinking, but uh, they do listen in, right? We know that phones the phones have something where they listen in. They can, you know, if you've got, I sometimes I don't even say nothing to Siri, and Siri just start talking like I said her name. What's up with that? You know, and Grok, I'll use Grok to like make a presentation of like, but I cut it right off. I don't talk to that thing because I've left it on, and this thing will just spark up conversations with you. Keep talking like somebody that you kind of want to like, hey, can you be quiet a minute? That's how much it talks. Lunatic Fringe. Hey, Kathleen, what you talking about there? But yeah, I'm just looking towards the next whatever they're going to come up with. I think they were kind of Mister in between. I'm still lost. Kathleen, yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is if you talk to it enough, and I don't know how much you talk to it, it already. If you've had the thoughts in the past or said certain words in the past, I mean, it might just add on to what you've already said in the past, you know, or think ahead because it's trying to figure you out. You know what I mean? You get to be your personal uh, assistant or whatever. So one thing about it, you can almost make Grok or any of them say anything you want to, if you set little boundaries. They get on there and they say that you can't say this, you can't say that, whatever. Do it this way. And so Grok, GBT, all these are following that path, and is a rock and roll song. Oh, okay. I'll have to listen to. I'm sorry, I'm a little slow this morning. Elvis Presley was the evil Presley. I don't know. I'm an Elvis Presley fan, so I just always will be. I'm sorry. I grew up in Memphis, and I was about lived about 5 miles from uh, between 5 and 10 miles from Graceland my whole life. And been there 10 times. Um, but I'll say this about Elvis. He sung like an angel. Everything that he sung was number one hit, no matter what it was. And look what we did to our angel, or look what they did to the angel. They drugged him out, kept him, and just wore him out until at 42 he looked horrible and gave in and died. You know. Yeah, yeah. It tries to figure out. Have you ever done one of those like games where you answer like 10 or 20 little questions and it tell you exactly what you're thinking? And I mean, gets it. No, no, no. I'll tell you this about myself. And this is why I said about Elvis Presley. Uh, my great grandma was named Phillips. Okay, Grandma Phillips. Her brother was Sam Phillips. Sam Phillips discovered Elvis. He owned Sun Studio. He discovered Elvis, Johnny Cash, Otis Redding, and Jerry Lee Lewis. Oh no, I'm not representing anything. I'm not representing any song. I tend to I love "Come Jesus Come." I get excited about that one. I just something about that song, really. Y'all hear it a lot in my videos, and it's just kind of one of my theme songs on here. I like the Valley of Dry Bones as well. You know, if you guys get a chance to play that one, play Dry Bones Rattling in the worship version, and you tell them a song that'll get you going. Another one is I don't know if you guys. It's been around a while. It was sung by Judy Jacobs, and it's the Year of Jubilee, or it's talks. I think that's the name of it. But you look up the Days of Elijah, and it'll pop up on your YouTube, and you can listen to it. And that one gets me fired up because I'm a big Elijah fan. Y'all don't know. I mean, I've studied and just the story of Elijah gets me. I can sit here and get chills and get teared up telling you the stories of Elijah. I just can't imagine. Yeah, yep. He was twins and his twin died. That's true. I don't know. Did you guys like that latest movie of that came out of Elvis? I thought that was a pretty good depiction. He looked like Elvis more than anybody I'd ever seen. Playing in the past, it was more believable. If you kind of side-eyed him at some points, it sounded and looked just like Elvis. But if you haven't had a chance to watch that movie, it's really. And I've had actually a vivid dream with Elvis in it. I had a vivid dream. In fact, it'd probably be the last. I haven't had a vivid dream in a couple of years, but it was actually with Elvis, and it was weird. I'll tell you about it. I don't know what it meant, but I think I had it either. I think I had it after I watched the movie, maybe before I watched the movie. Oh, I love it. That song gets me so fired up. I've been here jumping up and down. Huh? That would be strange. There's a preacher out there who sounds just like Elvis. His name is You'll look him up. The preacher that sounds just like Elvis. When he sings, you would think it was Elvis singing. Y'all know who I'm talking about? Look it up. I get on the computer here. I look it up for you, but I can't play songs on here because then they don't want to post my. You don't get to see the lives immediately. I have to wait days for them to approve it. I don't know what happened with it. It's not here yet, so nothing's happened with it. We're still waiting. You know. Uh, Anybody who watches my videos knows that hey, I look at the dates. I get excited about the dates, but I don't come up with the dates. Huh? I didn't know that. It seems kind of strange since Elvis. That would have been 40 years. Bob Joyce. That's right. Yeah, that's his name. And I mean, if you go listen to this guy, when he gets on the piano and sings Christian music, he sounds like an exact of Elvis. I've never heard an impressionist or anybody be able to do what this man does. And he's just doing. He's not. I don't know if he's trying to sound like Elvis, but he don't have to try. He sounds just like him. You know. Jesse Presley. That would be 42 years after. What did they do? Move his body from Tupelo to because at the time they were poor when this happened, and he would have been buried in Tupelo because that's where they lived, Tupelo, Mississippi. That's where Elvis is from. But I don't know how we got on the subject of Elvis so long. I guess it just is, But yeah, I always felt like that he was an angel that they just stomped out of here. We got this angelic voice get here, and everything he sung was a number one hit. He could sing "Mary Had a Little Lamb," and it would have been a number one hit. You know, so I don't know, Joe. I don't know. Uh, I guess if we use like things that are close by to say this is it or that's it, close by signs that might be a sign for you. I don't know. Um, Saint Luke 2:21. I'll look that up in just a second. Yeah, I don't know. He's not Elvis. Bob, look, there's no way he could be Elvis. It'd be Elvis would be 89 right now. This guy looks like he's about 65, maybe 60. There's no way. You know, he don't look like Elvis. He sounds like Elvis. You know, so people said I'd love to play one of his songs in here and let you hear it. You'd be like, wow, that dude does sound like Elvis. You know, but yeah, does the dates hurt anybody more? Are y'all hurt by the dates? Anybody in here hurt by the dates? I mean, nobody's gotten it right ever all this time, so I don't see why it would hurt you this time. You know, or any other. You know, it's just we press forward. We press forward. And what I was hearing out of Rapture Radio yesterday is they're all getting kind of seem like a little wore out with it. You know, some of them are. I don't think Joseph Allen is, but he's getting on Zoom calls with certain other people. I don't set dates either. I just watch them when they set them. Why not? It's interesting, and not only that, they could get it right. I mean, nobody's to say they. Nobody's gonna listen. Okay, so let's think about it. No man knows that day or hour. So let's get down to if somebody figured it out, right? After all this, is anybody gonna believe them? You know, we sit here and go, hey, now November 2nd and 3rd is the high watch date. And I'm just making that up, right? But we go there, we go that direction. Uh, by the end of the season or close to the end of the season, you probably be pretty wore out with it, right? Oh, now that one passed. What now? What's the next one? You know? Yeah, I mean, we're always looking, but I promise you, listen, no matter what dates go by in the nearest future, okay, whatever's come up with, understand this. If I say, hey, I'm coming soon, I'll come within this season. I'm coming soon. That's not the same kind of soon as a long time ago when, oh, Jesus is coming soon, and then he comes 2,000 years later or 1,500 years later or we're at that time. Timepiece, 77th year of Israel. The timepiece started 77 years ago. So we're in that time era. We're in the times piece. But knowing an exact day hour, does God really work like that? How do his days work, you know? When it's never night where he's at. When you're pure light, you have no shadow and there is no darkness where you're at. So it's like the sun up there. An appearance of dark for us because it gets dark on one side of the earth. But no matter where that sun is, it's day. So we can't exactly go, um, his days don't work like ours because darkness is an illusion for man. It's an illusion. It's never dark here. We always have the sun. It's just on one side of the earth or the other. You talking about are you talking the Revelation sign? Is that the one where the eclipse happened? The eclipse of 2017, or Jerusalem becoming being made the capital of Israel? That's what made me really start focusing in on Trump. You know, as simply that. As at first, I like say I wasn't interested in Trump. I just knew he would be president, and even all the little signs that Hillary was going to had all the polls and all that. I just kept saying he'll be your president. Woke up the next morning, he was the president. You know, and I I didn't think anything much of Trump other than he was funny. And then after the capital of Jerusalem, I looked back, I was like, this dude is going down the list. I've never seen a president do that before. Actually, go down a list and and try to go by it. You know, all the other presidents said what they would do, but they didn't do it. But when he made Jerusalem the capital of Israel, I was like, wait a minute, this dude said it and he did it. And you had 5 or 6 presidents say they would do it and never did it. So, or however how many, it might even be more than that. But anyway, so that made me start focusing in on Trump. Like, whoa, wait a minute, let me watch this guy. And then I started to like him. You know, I liked the things he was doing the first term. Now I don't know. I like everything he's doing now or will, but I think America's got to get on a different track, or we we couldn't do 4 more years of the other. Like not this soon. You know, got to repatch some things, fix some things before we hand it back over to them to tear it all up. But how do we know that that side's evil? They believe in abortion. They believe in it in every way. In fact, I've heard them say that they would go get pregnant just to have an abortion. That's evil. That just tells you on the other side they're evil. You know, they're about every aspect of what evil is. Well, we only got 7 people in here now. I'm glad to have you guys, but we had upwards of 20 something, 30 here a minute ago. Oh, now we got 6. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to get on here, and that's why I got on here is to clarify and let's just talk about it. You know, I'm glad you guys still got a great attitude about it. You know, but how many of us are holding it together? That is, you guys are holding it together, but how many are still with us? You know, and want to look towards it. It's all the beast. You know, you kind of look at you look at the beast system's been setting up for a minute. We're about to go cashless society, and that's actually about to happen. But the beast, all this started up 2013 when Bitcoin jumped on there and was just a little pump, like, and people were looking at it like, could this be the cashless society? Of course, it was headed towards the cashless society. That was the start of it. So there was a sign in 2013 when it just popped up out of nowhere. You know, uh, and here we are. Look at it now. We're about to. They're trying to turn everything into digital. They can cut digital off just like they can cut it on. They can take out of your account what they put in there, and then keep an eye on everything you're doing, everything you're purchasing. There's no way of getting out of it. It is a definite tracking system. And if you get the ID or the now, is the digital ID, now, is that just on your license? What is that? I don't, because is it going to be like a chip on your license? Is that what it is? Anybody can tell me? digital ID, is it put under your skin? Because it may be like close to the mark, but see, this is going to be counterfeit. Anything God does when it says He puts it on your forehead, it means He puts it in your head. When Satan trying to mock it, okay, a mockery of it would be putting something in your head, maybe a little chip, maybe or under the something in your head, you know, where or in your under your skin, where when the Jesus the way the Lord works is when He says He writes it on your forehead, He writes it in your head. You know it. All of a sudden, you know it. All right, Mary Beth. That's the attitude to have. We hold the line. We continue to hold the line and stand firm. We know the rapture's imminent. It's just, and we're not. If I was to say, hey, it's 3 weeks from now, wouldn't y'all not be like, man, we're hours away. Every second goes by, we're closer and closer. You know, well, within this equinox, I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Do I know what day or hour? No. That's a pretty wide range, 3 months of an equinox. But we were already, it started on September 21st. We're already at November 1st. And this equinox ends at December 21st. So I'm just like you, I'm excited to see what I had happen to me 10 years ago. Is it going to, is if it doesn't happen for me, I will definitely be scratching my head because I've been saying this for 10 years. I didn't just come out with it and get told to shout it out. I was never told to tell any of it. But when I started telling it, it was just on my own, and people were interested. So, but obviously lot less interest being that everybody's saying it now. And the same season, that not I called for it. I was told by the prophet Elijah 10 years ago, and mine lined up perfectly with Scripture. Yeah, they will be. All the way up until who entered the ark? They'll be eating and drinking and giving away in marriage and not paying attention. And what we've lost a lot of people along the way. We've gained a lot of people. We found each other. Like I've gained a lot of people. I didn't know you guys then, and it's brought this community together. As now I have people that come in like Lisa. I recognize Lisa immediately. And they tend to attend my videos and attend my lives, and we all talk a lot. So I've got a chance to, you know, have a meet a new group of believers who believe like me. You know, definitely in the days of Noah. You knew that when I mean honestly, they've kind of like suppressed this transgenderism thing. They've suppressed it a little bit, now kind of reversal. But you know how quickly, if it goes the other way in an election, how quickly they can turn it back around. They just unsign everything Trump did, like they did last time, undo it, do it the way they want to do it, make transgender a thing. That right there is simply evil. You know, it makes me kind of like what happened to the good old gay guy? Back then we look, how you look at things, but uh, as far as like what happened to just the normal old gay person? Why they got to be a different gender? Where did this come from? Well, in '08, not '08, but 2016 or so, whatever it was, 12 when Obama was in there. And Obama had Bruce Jenner out there giving him Hero of the Year award for coming out as a woman. I knew right then, I was like, well, this is horrible. How's the Hero of the Year award is for coming out as a woman? I'm going to be looking. I'm going to read Revelations 12 when I get off here and see if I can figure out what you're talking about or try to see from your perspective. You live in California, Joe? Oh yeah, oh yeah. And it's done went from prophecy happening every couple of years to prophecy happening every couple of days or every day. Okay, so I see why you think that is because you live in that area and you're seeing the things going on. You could be right. You could be right. California is definitely under distress. It's definitely under distress. It's too high. It's too expensive to live there, and it's been too expensive to live there for a long time. You know, you can sell a small house, a little small nothing house in California, take that money, come down south and buy you a mansion, and have money left over, plenty of it. So if you can get out, get out. God is the prophet. Yeah, I mean, he's the one that tells everybody what to say and what to do. You know, but I had anybody like interested in the two witnesses. That's right. You guys really think so? You think it's about to happen? All these earthquakes we're having in various places, and they seem to be being supercharged by the sun. I don't know if you guys pay attention to Stephon Burns, but if you get a chance to, I don't usually watch his whole clip because a lot of that stuff is highly uninteresting to me. But he usually gets to the point in the first 5 minutes, and you'll get a lot out of it. You know. Yeah, we're it's likened to a woman, just like we're a 9 month pregnant, overdue woman, not knowing what day, but we know it's any second, right? And that's the way it is. We're there. We're at that Methuselah moment where he was about to take his last breath, you know. And if you look at the ark and you float back to who Methuselah was and who his father was, then you can see the raptures tied in that. Enoch was raptured. Methuselah is a part of the Noah story. Noah and the ark, it's all tied in together, and it'll make more sense when it actually happens. But we kind of got an idea. How many of you take the dreams of everybody and try to like tie them in together? I'm gonna start thinking. I'm gonna start writing down what I hear out of people's dreams that catches my eye, and if I hear it in another dream or hear something close to it, maybe I'll use that to add to it. Maybe make something out of all these dreams. Instead of chasing calendars, which I don't, I encourage it. I don't care, but it don't hurt me. But if some of you don't encourage it, don't do it. If it hurts your spirit, don't do it. Anybody else feel that way? Boy, I don't get as many lives in the morning time on a Saturday as you do. I mean, there's many people on a live as you do on maybe an evening time during the week. Maybe that tonight. I might be back on here after a while. I just wanted to get on here and say something, and I didn't really feel like uh, didn't have a video this morning really set. Something I was thinking of saying. Uh, I actually witnessed something last night that I went over to a friend of mine's house for a second and witnessed a guy fall from, well, he climbed over a railing and fell about 10 feet right on his head. And they had to airlift him to Little Rock. That's how bad it was. He had blood in both ears, and that wasn't like bleeding, like running down his face. There were chunks. So I don't know what that meant, but uh, it didn't sound good. So I've been praying for him and feeling bad about that. I didn't, just because it had nothing to do with me or anybody else. He just did it. But care about your fellow. And I believe he's an illegal. You know, he was an illegal or possibly illegal, and just I don't know. He climbed over a fence. He's about 5 foot tall. Climbed over the fence and hit his head and knocked himself out, and never did really come to the whole time that they were wheeling him off on the gurney. And Lisa, do you have a channel where you do any talking on it? Like you talk about your dreams, or you just type them in? Because I'd be interested if you got your channel. I would be interested. Let me look at something real quick. Uh, I don't know. I can't look at your channel right this second, but if you do, I'd be love to hear you tell your dreams. You have a lot of good ones. Kind of like Holly Two Moons. You know. And listen, guys, I want you to understand something. If you hear someone else's dream and they say a little something like, I'll tell you, this happened with my wife. She was listening, I think, to Holly Two Moons, and Holly Two Moons said she had a dream and she felt herself get marked on the forehead. Yeah, I do have a PO box. You want it? I do have a PO box. But I've also got regular mail. If you just want to send it in the regular mail, I don't. You know, it's whatever. I don't care either way. Well, like I say, I'd be interested in hearing you tell your dreams. Because it's kind of hard, like in the live, like I see it and I want to read it, but other things are coming up. Little short pieces, and I try to read some of it, but I really am interested in your dreams. I love it when people have dreams. I don't know how you guys have so many dreams. You know, anybody watch Brandon Biggs? Does anybody watch Brandon Biggs? He's been pretty big on. Go on and do it, Lisa. We need you to be a part of the team. You know what I'm saying? Well, I listen to Brandon Biggs, and it's hard sometimes because he'll be speaking in a tongue I don't know for very long periods of time. So I'll listen and then in and out. But Brandon Biggs is uh, a good one, that I listen to. But he says so much, so many different things that it's like I don't know how any one person could prophesy on a daily basis. He doesn't call himself a prophet, but that's just a simple way of trying to hide from, what we can see you doing. You're giving prophecy nonstop and, you know, saying you're not a prophet. I think that's just a way of cowarding out, maybe. Okay, so you had the same experience as Holly Two Moons? Because she said the same thing. What I was telling my wife was, though, is that Jesus approaches us all in different ways. Now, y'all's dreams may match up great. I did hear her dream, and if that's the one you're talking about, I've had. I'll say this: if you're one of the 144, you know it. It's not you know, are the 144 it? No, that's not it. That's not all that's going. 144 have a job to do, so they'll be going, but possibly be right back. We got some. We got to be raised in, incorruptible bodies to be able to come back and do what we're going to do. Okay, but I will say I know when I was marked on the forehead, and it wasn't lately. It was quite a while back. So it may be that you know you guys, but it's your experience, huh? A lot of people have them nuclear dreams. You know, a lot of people have nuclear dreams. And I believe it has its place, but I don't think God's going to allow man to destroy Earth with nuclear. It said the Battle of Armageddon will be coming, but it'll be over the moment he steps foot on Earth. You actually felt him touch your forehead? Because I don't know who the other person is. If this is the same dream that you're saying someone else had, I know that I watched one with Holly Two Moons, and she's kind of saying what you're saying. And she had that dream too. She said the same thing. She actually felt herself being touched on the forehead. That's awesome. See, they told me that too. Okay, but my experience was completely different. But it doesn't matter because he reaches. That's one thing I learned a long time ago. Look, when I had an experience where I come out and I was like, I I understand now. I'm a son of God. I'm not the son of God. I'm a son of God. Right. I had this huge experience with it. And I asked my wife, I'm like, because she was saying the same thing the day before, and I didn't understand what she was talking about until I had my experience. But I asked her how hers went, and she said, "Oh, he just told me." See, like he just told you, and you believe it. He just told it, and they believe it. He couldn't just tell me, and I believe it. He had to show me all this stuff, and actually had this huge experience in my forehead, in my head. I had when I'll tell you this. Y'all want to hear it real quick? My experience with that. Back in about 2007, 2008, uh, I came in one day and my wife's like, "I got to tell you something, Jason." She wasn't, she was going through some spiritual things. She was like, "I got to tell you something." Now, she's like, I'm the daughter of God. I was like, "What?" Because I was instantly jealous because I wasn't told that. And I wasn't told, so I was kind of like, "What is this all about? Am I supposed to be protecting her, Lord? You know, she's the daughter of God." That's awesome, Lisa. So see, he comes to us in different ways. But I'll tell you when I was marked on the forehead. But previously in the past, before the story I'm gonna tell you is that I was given the name Joshua. It came to me. I was given it. Uh, then as researching it, it's the same as my regular name, Jason. They mean the same exact thing. They're just said in different forms. Okay, so and I may have told this story before on different. If some of you've heard this before, but okay, so now let's fast forward to 2007, 2008. It all started when my wife would be telling me things, and I had to pay a lot of attention to her then because she had been given a name too. And the way these names work out is one lays the foundation, the other builds it. So she would lay the foundation by saying whatever she said, and I wouldn't understand it completely to the point where the look on my face, she would say, "If you don't believe me, I don't care. It don't matter, you know." And I'd be like, "Look, Rachel, I believe you, okay? I just don't understand it. I'm trying to process it, okay?" Well, one night when Obama was, and this was the night after she told me she was the daughter of God. No, you don't understand. I mean, she had a huge experience, but it was just him telling her that. Well, I wouldn't have took that as enough, but at that time, yeah. So she says, she looks over at me. She says, "We got to go to Washington D.C." Washington D.C. I wasn't feeling that at all. In fact, it scared me. I was like, I'm not ready for whatever this is. I'm not ready for it, you know. And she was like, "I'm just gonna have to go without you." Well, man, I'm really thinking about this, and I go in the bathroom and I run some water, and I get in the tub, and I'm talking to God. I'm basically on my knees in the tub. I'm like, "Look, I'm not understanding, and I don't get this. I'm not feeling this at all." And it just hit me, you know, that I may not be talking to her through. I may be talking to him. And literally, I said, "I will follow you anywhere." And I come out of that bathroom, and I walked up to her, looked at her, said, "I'll follow you anywhere." So we get in the truck. I mean, an old pickup, hardly any gas, and we're headed to Washington. We're gonna go to Washington D.C. But luckily, right before that, she said, "My mama, let's go by my mama's house first." And I was like, "Whew, okay, let's go by there. Maybe whatever this is will fit." Well, she's talking to her mom. She's telling her what happened, and her mom instantly goes to that non-spiritual thing of, "Have you been taking your medicine?" You know what I'm saying? You know how people look at you as well. They ended up going with it, and I didn't know it was all for me, really, but all it was is I needed to follow her for real and know that I really would. And I went to her mama's house, and there was one point where I really believed that we were about to blip out of there and be somewhere else, wherever it was we needed to be, Washington, D.C., whatever. And closed my eyes with full belief, held hands, you know, boom, nothing happened. And so it left me on a whole ride home like, what was this about? You know, like, so why all of a sudden we need to go to Washington, D.C., then we don't. Then we go by our mama's house. Then we think we might get blipped out of it. Then it didn't. What was that all about, Lord? You know, I'm sitting in the living room thinking this. I'm not saying it. I'm just over there, not really watching TV. She's watching TV over here on the couch, talking to him. And as I'm talking, she looks over at me and answers. And I was like, "That's crazy. Did she just answer the question I was asking in my head? In the spirit, she answered it." So I continued to talk for a little bit longer. Are you guys still interested in what I'm talking about, my story? I'll keep going with it. So anyway, yeah, uh, next thing I know, I'm still talking to her in my head. She looks over and answers me again. So the third time this happened, she said, "What are you talking to him about?" I mean, blowing my mind here. I mean, I get chills even talking to you about it. It was like, how is this woman answering what I'm? And then I started to get frustrated. I'm like, "Look, I talk to you in the spirit. How come you talk to me through her? You don't talk to me through the spirit, you know?" And the next words that came over my head was, "Because you never shut up." And then he started talking, and I mean, like, I'm not talking. I'm not thinking. I'm not thinking this up. There's no way to hide this. It's a complete voice that takes over your head. Okay, and he started talking. I forget even exactly what we were talking about now. I was just so excited about what was going on. I was sitting there and all, right? So this went on for a little while longer, and So I got this feeling, I wasn't told to, but I got this feeling like, go lay down, you know. So I told my wife, I'm going here and lay down for a minute. And I went there and shut the door. No sooner than my head hit the pillow, boom, I was up here over the earth looking at it. And I'm not looking at the earth as it is now, but as it was before. And then all that happened to brought it the way it is now. And then at the same time that was going on, I was told I was being shown how over a year time, maybe a little bit longer. I don't know exactly the time, but I say a year. But I had taken on the personality of each disciple, not the good part, but the overcome part. Like first you're doubting Thomas, then you overcome doubt, and then you overcome the next one's set of issues, whatever. And it was walking through a gate. So as I would overcome whatever personality flaw there was, I was walking through a gate. You can walk through all 12 out of order, but I had to walk through all 12 to have this 13th experience, which was the Christ. And honestly, if he hadn't have given me a name, everything he showed me, it was like his experience was mine immediately. Like I had that dream. The room was spinning. I could hear a voice talking from the other side of the room. And then all of a sudden it started to sound like two voices. Now they're continuing to tell me the story, right? And it sounded like they were spinning. But they were getting closer to each other until it was one voice. And the last words that came out of that voice was, and your name will be Joshua Christ, which means, and then, but the thing is that I opened my eyes right at the end, like if you as you're gonna say your last word, and I wasn't saying them, I was listening. And when I opened my eyes, the last words were coming out of my mouth, and I was on my knees in the middle of the bed. Just got there spinning into a circle. I felt the two spirits become one. So when I became one with Christ, I felt it. It was a feeling. And that was when I was marked on the forehead. And those two passages happen to be in Revelation. One says he'll give you a name written on a white stone that no one will know but you. It's one of the churches that you overcome, right? And then in one of the other churches, if you endure to the end, it says that I will give you a name written on not written on a white stone. I will put my name and my Father's name written on your forehead, written in your head. And that was the day that I was marked on the forehead. Hey, Mickey, glad you're. I know. Listen, it is. You. People were real interested in it when I did it on TikTok 5 years ago, but nobody was saying anything. At that point, you didn't have people saying anything about 2025 except for maybe Tom Horn, what have you. But Nikki, they don't. Nobody. I mean, I can tell it. Will they believe it? No, because especially theologians, and if you're trying to tell other Christians, because they'll come out and go, "Oh no, Elijah was John the Baptist. That was already fulfilled." Right? Is that the answer you were getting? I don't know if my phone's a little bit slow, but that's the answer you were getting. That's a lot of times what they'll say to me. Here's the deal. I had the experience. I understand the passage better because of the experience. How do I expect a man who'd never had the experience to tell me what the experience is? Does that make sense? It does say that. In fact, uh, we'll just bring it up. Open your book to Malachi, and I do that. We can find where Jesus said it, but I'd have to look it up because I'm not like Benny Jack Van Impe, where he knows every scripture verse by verse. I just understand them when I read them. Um, I was given the gift of understanding. But okay, we're right here. Read it for yourself. What does it say? I would have to read it backwards at that point. Uh, Here we go. In the last days, I'll send you the prophet Elijah, and he'll turn the hearts of fathers to their sons, or the sons to their fathers, or I'll strike the land with a curse. It's right here, Malachi's final warning, the last book of Malachi, and Jesus says it too. Now, in most people's, like, if you was to think about that, you'd be like, if they're trying to figure that passage out from somebody who doesn't know and their the perspective, they've never had it happen. And we go, well, possibly either this has already happened, or they try to like not think about it because they're like, oh, well, John the Baptist was Elijah. They didn't pay attention. The spirit of Elijah never left. Elisha got a double portion, right? Then they say John the Baptist, but John the Baptist was killed. So does that mean Elijah was killed? Is it in their way of thinking? In their way of thinking, does that mean he was on the Mount of Configuration, okay? And he's promised for the last days. When are the last days? They weren't talking about the last days of somewhere in the past. The last days, okay? It's plain and simple, okay? Now, so we now that we know that the spirit keeps moving and you can't kill the spirit of Elijah, right? Now, so we know that he comes in more than one time, more than one way. But in the last days, he'll come through he'll make the hearts of fathers turn to their sons and the sons to their fathers. Okay? Well, that's why I would imagine, it's because it's plural that I would imagine it's more than one person that's had this experience. But I have nobody on here that's ever come on here and said they've had it. So it makes me wonder, what does that mean? Okay, but because he came through my son, I understand the passage of why the hearts of fathers would turn to their son. Does that make sense? So how could you understand the passage if you've never had it happen to you? Yeah, now is in the last days. Actually, 10 years ago, because 10 years ago, we were in the last days. Things have been progressively getting there, right? But he said, in the last days, I'll send them to you. Well, 10 years ago, if I was told 10 years from then, by him, and I just don't, if it lines up with the word. I know that it's hard to tell the story. I've told the story many times. I've had people question me, but I've had way more people interested than be so skeptical. What you get is you get arguing people that love to argue. They love to argue. There's about 3 or 4 different ways that. Would you not say that every time you read the Bible, you can read the same thing and somehow something new will come out at you? It's because God reveals things to you when you need it at certain times. So that's why an old passage will become new to you. I hadn't even, back when that happened to me in 2000, I hadn't even thought about the last days. I'll send you the prophet. I hadn't even thought about that. Okay. I just, after it happened, I was like, oh, let me go back and read this passage. And I never paid attention to the part. I always read the part about Elijah. But the part I didn't pay attention to is it'll turn the hearts of fathers to their sons or sons to their fathers. So, but I was like, oh my gosh, I had the exact experience. So no matter what they say, they're not going to know better than the man that had the experience. Around that time I drew. If somebody invited me on to tell the story, I would, but it's just the thing is I don't see them. You've got so many people saying this date or that date. I think they're more interesting to them than I would be at this point. But yeah, I was actually, I'll tell you this. when I opened up on TikTok, obviously I had no viewers. I was getting started out, but I was catching the attention of the bigger influencers at the time. So they wanted me on their lives so bad that they pushed my channel and made it big really fast. Like I was growing, and then one day I couldn't get back into my account. I thought they got rid of me. Here recently, my daughter got me back, or my son got me back my account back, and got me back into it. So obviously it was something I was doing, but I gave up. I was like, well, I had something going, now I don't. And then here it is. Actually, a friend of mine and my wife talked me into doing this. They said, you need to do it. You need to do it. People want to hear it. And after getting on here and I read the messages after each video, or, I, it's like now I can't get off here. I mean, it was instant connections with people, instant. Uh, People thanking me for just keeping on, and just sometimes they just want to hear it out of an old country boy, that knows this stuff. You know, I don't know. Whatever voice you like to listen to or hear, I love listening to all of them. Bro Scott's interesting to me, especially when he gets on his kick of figuring things out. I like to hear that, and he's a nice guy, and he answers a lot of questions like we do on here. I get asked different ones, you know, uh, but Lisa, you over here telling better stories than me on here. I told you need to open your own channel. I'll come watch it, be a part of the team. I encourage all of you guys. Look, you know, if you're anybody ready for the rapture, anybody ready for this Exodus rapture, I am. Okay, I'm ready for it. I'm excited for it. I wish it was today. I wish it was this very moment. But for me to know the qualifications of the door closing on the ark would mean people are still entering the ark, and it's not as many people as it used to be. It's slowed down. We got 1, 2 coming on, 10 coming on. Well, if we get on here and we push Jesus Christ as, you know, Lord and Savior, and get these people saved, as many people as we can at the time, you know, uh, don't you think that numbers will get lower and lower until so you might be telling the last person and the door closed. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, I was interested in church and hearing it. I did. Parents kind of try to keep Revelation away from me. It's like a scary book or something. But church would talk about it when I was real interested in it. But I can't say that I was chimed in enough to. I might have knew about 1988, but I remember in the 90s when they were saying it. And Elijah told me the answer to this. Want to hear it real quick? Have you heard it before? If you've heard it before and not interested, let me know. Well, thank you. I hope if that was for me, thank you, sure. But I'll tell you what I was told. I was told by Elijah the prophet that the end actually started in 1977. Now I'm I was born in 76, so I wasn't real alert in 77. But those of you who may have been, uh, may have felt like the end was coming. Well, Elijah told me that every 3.5 or 4 years, the end is really coming. It's been coming since 1977. So these people get together and like, oh, the date, this and that, and I see it coming. They really do see it coming, and then he delays because he delayed as many times as possible before the Father said no more. Okay, and no more was in 2015. So, however that works out, he said that that gave us 10 years left. So the last time to delay all of this. Now, delaying is coming. Now you don't think if it's the autumn equinox maybe that he's going to push it all the way to get as many as he can. This is Jesus we're talking about. The Jesus we're talking about. And I would believe he'd push it all the way to the max. No, I didn't really think about it. When you're having these things happen, I didn't know he was going to be leaving. Do you understand that? Like, at the time, I wasn't told, hey, Elijah's going to be leaving you tomorrow. It just happened. He was gone. Just like he came on, he was gone. And do I say my son's Elijah? No. It's missing the point. See what I'm saying? No, my son is not Elijah the prophet. Did he have Elijah the prophet in him? Yes, he did. And that's who I dealt with for a little while. Mind-blowing, miraculous things happening in front of me. Uh, you know, he explained different things to me, I don't know that any of that would mean anything to you guys, but it gives me chills because it meant something to me. Do you guys believe me about Elijah? Let's just ask that question. Do you believe me? Sounds like you do. Even if you went to go tell somebody else, sounds like you believe it. Because, you know, I don't discredit anybody's visions. If I hadn't had enough visions and dreams, and I hadn't had as many dreams, but visions and visitations of myself, how could I believe you if I've never had it happen for myself? It means that I would just be a Bible reader, right? Just reading the Bible and trying to understand what somebody else was talking about 2,000 years ago when they didn't have the things that we get to see. See what I'm saying? And I I just believe. It's easier for me to believe you because if somebody just gets in here and just wanting attention and lying, they sure have some pretty intricate stories. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that anybody just getting on here for attention. In fact, you wouldn't even be interested in the subject. You'd want to go get attention somewhere else, right? So, as far as like Joshua Molecula, uh, I'll say that, you know, as of yet, nothing's come yet that uh, he was calling for. But he did. He said the Exodus and called it the rapture, and that is a process. So like I say, it could all come out in the end and make it all right. Like go back and go, wow. You ever seen the movie Sixth Sense? The whole time, he's a psychiatrist trying to help this kid, and weird things are happening. By the end of it, it all came together. He was dead the whole time, and he finally helped this kid or whatever. But it was all a big picture came together. We have a lot of movies like that, and if I would think Jesus would do it anyway, it's going to be one big surprise that either we're going to be so excited that we don't care anything about that anymore, or he just makes it all right. Yeah, I believe maybe Joshua. Uh, it's real easy as a man to look at something that God shows you and take it, be a little zealous about it, and say things that don't. Like say things like it'll be September 23rd, 24th, 2 billion%. Well, he was scratching his head. He's probably still scratching his head. What does it mean? He just knows. He said days away. That's where he left it. Now, I hadn't read any of his latest posts, but uh, it wasn't like he was coming out saying something totally different. Oh, I don't know why. I don't think, like I say, we're obviously on different time versions than what God's got going on, you know. And we try to figure out calendars and dates, but it's just, and I don't try to figure them out. I just watch the people figure out. Don't get me wrong. I don't have the ability to sit there and try to figure it out, nor do I want to. I just know that it's any day now. Any day now. Soon. Soon, not the soon of the past. It's the soon, a new soon. Okay? A different kind of soon. So, yeah. It's all, everything in me tells me it's within this autumn equinox. I would say if he worked off anything, it would at least be equinoxes, right? So, within this equinox, we will. It's my. I mean, if we don't, then 10 years ago, I got lied to. The prophet Elijah just come through a prophecy the same way the Bible said it would happen, and I got lied to. And I just don't believe that. Yeah, he ain't found Jesus' body. There's no way. He didn't find it. We know that's garbage. That's a false prophecy. But they would love to say that so they can discredit Christianity and move on with the Muslim takeover or whatever it is. Islamic. Is Muslim a people? Islamic, the religion? Islam nation? I don't know. But anyway, I'm not sure. I don't keep up with them. Now, yeah, I think they found the Ark area. I've seen that one, or I've seen it. Now, they're talking about if they found the actual Ark. I would imagine it deteriorated by now. They found the area it's in, I believe. They said that. Yeah, yeah, that's what I saw. I saw the same thing. It kind of looks like the shape of an ark, the way it's sitting there, the ground that they're showing. I'm sure they could probably do some kind of X-rays and all that, find out more. Now, yeah, it does say that. It does say that. It says don't go look in the desert. Don't go look in inner rooms. Meaning somebody tells you here he is on TV, I guess. Don't look. What it is it's an Satan's attempt to steal your crown. It's an attempt to steal your crown, make you question Jesus. Did he really arise? Did he really, that's what it's all for. You know, yep. And I don't know what that means. I know one thing. I don't care nothing about it. If they got a giant skeleton, I kind of want to see it. You know what I mean? I want to see what, because they hide all of them. They've been hiding that for the longest about giants. They found like 3,000 here in America and send them to what is that big museum they send it to? The Smithsonian. And none of them, they don't have not one of them to show. Somebody's hiding something. Yeah, and if y'all heard yesterday during my last live stream, my wife walked outside. Did you hear that yesterday? My wife walked outside during the live, and she said that it's the first time she looked at the moon, it looked blurry, so she looked back, took a double take, and when she did, she saw two moons. And Jesus, what she saw to be like Jesus, standing like over the top of it, looking down at her, and he had a pink and blue like aura, like if you were to see the outline of him, and she felt like that was a sign. And something else that she got yesterday was just out of nowhere was hourglass. And we tried to go in the Strongs and look, and there's no hourglass in the Strongs, so couldn't like relate it with anything. But yeah, she got hourglass yesterday. So I was actually having to go somewhere last night for a little while that I wasn't wanting to go because obviously I want to be at home with my wife if the rapture happens, you know. But I went anyway and um, came on back. But yeah, she had that right during our live. Does anybody feel the Holy Spirit in the live? You know, I'm just saying like the Holy Spirit is present when we're all together. You know, and you know Jesus is among us. You know, in spirit, and you know I try each day to keep everybody excited and or whatever. It's just my job, you guys. Everybody has their job, but I will lead people to Jesus. I just figure there's so many people doing that, and I got to do my job. We're all the body of Christ, right? And I'm sort of the Jesus is about to return cheerleader, you know. Without giving dates and times and all that. But I do enjoy, like I say, I love these guys and I love what they come up with. They come up with some ingenious ways of figuring how they think about it, you know. And Joel 3:12. Let's just go on to Joel 3:12. Take a look at this real quick. Come on, Joel. This Bible just gives me fits. I can't read the tabs or nothing. I'll just pull it up on the computer behind me. Do it like that. We'll take a look together here on the computer. How about that, guys? Let's see what Joel said. Joel 3:12 through 15. Come on, slow computer. There we go. I'm going to look it up real quick. Just give me 1 second, guys, and we'll read it out loud. Uh, we're just waiting on it to pull up here. Let's see, Joel 3. Uh, okay. Joel 3, 12 through 15. Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathens around and about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for the wickedness is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. Wow, that was pretty cool. Had me laughing about the heathen though. I don't know. I've acted like a heathen in the past. How about you guys? I might act like a heathen now sometimes. I call myself a heathen. But yeah, That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I like that passage. I like that passage. Look. We can go on and on and on and on about all these prophets and look at their last days and see it happening now, including including they will call good evil and evil good. Do we not see that happen now? Hey, Yahuda Bat Yah. Uh oh. Yahuda Bat Yah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What do you get out of 564? 564. Huh. So then what do you look 564 up somewhere? Keep going with that, Shemaine. I need to know what that means. I'd love to tell my wife after the live somebody figured it out or got something out of it. Okay. That's right, because that's the Valley of Jehoshaphat, right? Egypt is the Valley of Jehoshaphat. Is that what you're saying? I get it. It's hard for me to put those words together because I don't know Egypt that well, but all right. All right, that's awesome. I don't speak Hebrew, but I've used the strong concordance for years for anything that I need to try to understand a word. I know that the Strong's guys, if you don't look at it, it not only gives you the word, but it gives you the word and the time period that what it would have meant in that time period. So not only does it show you break down Hebrew for you, it breaks down the Greek as well and uses the time period for the word. So a word something that meant something to front of the book might not have meant something later on. Thousands of years later, or 1,000 years later. Why? How do we know? Like you could take the first verse of the Bible. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was formless, and there was waters over the face of the deep. There was darkness over the face of the deep, and God was hovering over the waters. Darkness during that time doesn't even mean the same thing as darkness a page later, because God separated the days from the nights and made the lights of the night and sun for the day, and all that later. So darkness over the face of the deep, darkness just a few sentences earlier, don't mean the same thing as darkness a few sentences later. Does that make sense? And same thing with that's how the strong concordance does. It not only gives you a definition or of way, but it also gives you why that is and the time frame it's in. Well, look, guys, I'm enjoying this, and I always do. And I'll leave it up. I've been leaving my lives up so other people can look at it. But I'm gonna get back on live again this evening and try to maybe like dig a little deep, try to find a message to give or something today. Or maybe the Lord will give me something. Y'all pray for me. Can you pray for me to come out with that perfect message this evening? Or at least give me that prayer so uh, sometime this evening we can do this again. And when we have more people out on, I don't know, it's Saturday night, they might be busy. I don't know when a good time to do it is, but yeah, I need you guys' prayer, and I receive it, okay. But I would love for you to give me some direction. God, give me some direction, some kind of something that's going to help all of us. Thank you, thank you, and I pray for you guys, Lord. Here we are, day after October 31st, and we had high hopes, Lord, but we don't know exactly when you're coming, and you know that as well. But we know you're close by. We can feel your spirit among us. We can, all these different confirmations and dreams and visions, Lord. We know that you're about to make your appearance, and we've had a lot of guys try to narrow it down, and I just don't want anybody's spirit to be hurt, Lord. Nothing but to make us stronger and look harder and be and more alert. And now that we have each other, Lord, thank you, Lord, for that you've given us a chance to come together as a family and try to, not discredit anybody, but try to see what everybody's got to add, Lord. I don't have a reason to debunk a story, Lord. You know that. And I don't try to because you taught me that, Lord. And I want you to stay with them today, keep them safe, bring them back tonight, Lord, and give me a message that will resonate with them and maybe something new, something exciting, something throughout the day, Lord. I appreciate you. I love you with all of my heart, soul, and mind. And thank you for the family that you've given me here on YouTube. And I really appreciate them. And thank you for the growth in the ministry that's coming about. I love you, Lord. And they love you, Lord. In Jesus' name, the only name that matters. Amen. So I don't know. I didn't know what. That's true. Yeah, I can't wait to see you guys in the clouds. And it's any day. It could be today. Nobody's calling for today, right? It would be like, yeah, they not give it to them yesterday. But I will say that it's an equinox. And if Jesus is going to wait it out, I promise you guys that it'll be the very last moment. He wants every soul. And if he gives up before the last moment, it means that he got all of them. A ring, I'm going to have to ask her, okay? Because are you getting something like my wife may have had a white or is going to get a dream about a ring? I'll tell you this. She was given the name Zerubbabel years ago. And when you read about Zerubbabel, when he says, I'm gonna raise the spirit of Zerubbabel, not by power, but by my might. How's it go? I'd have to pull it up. Not by my strength, but by my power and my might. He's gonna raise the spirit of Zerubbabel, and he is the spirit of Zerubbabel is his signet ring. So that does mean something to her, But when I say that I was given this name, I a lot of people were given names. They're just not coming forward saying it. Okay, I'm just the only one that's out loud about it, and I don't know. That might end up getting me killed in the future. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like y'all know when everything goes down, do you think they're going to leave these YouTubes up for people to watch after we're gone? Or you think the lights are just going to go out when it comes back up? YouTube will be wiped of all anything to do with religion or spiritual. I would think it's probably going to be removed. You think they'll keep it? And I think it might be deceiving. Like uh, if you left here to go be with Jesus any moment, would you care what happens to your body? Would you care if it was laying there on the ground and you were with Jesus? I don't care. I don't care what happens to this body. I'm overcome it. The body of Christ has always been under attack. You want to talk about who's truly under attack? Nigeria. Our fellow brothers and sisters are being killed by the day over there. We have it great over here as far as like all we got to do is just take insults. Okay. Now, we are having things like people going in churches and shooting them up here, like like more. This ain't just here lately, but it's been a lot here lately. Okay, like over 8 churches here lately. I have to ask my wife. I have to ask my wife, but we knew that we were that mm, a while back. He's been marking people on the forehead for a good while, and I can always tell when I talk to people that are on the same level. I'm like, he's done something to this person, and I'm not going to ask them their personal question because it says he give you a name that's written on white that no one will know but you. So if I tell you, I'm telling you something that I was only supposed to know, and I don't know if I'm wrong for doing so or what, but it was my experience. Let's see. I'll find you that signet ring real quick. Which might be a key because she's the one that comes up with a lot. I literally listen to her tell me these things. It's fine. It's probably in Zechariah here. Zechariah. I just don't know exactly where to look in Zechariah because I read the whole. I always read the whole thing. Let me look it up. Got it right here. Let's see. Search. Do better go right here. Let's see. I love it. That's the one thing I do love having the internet for is I don't have to work real hard to find things. Zerubbabel. But it's funny you asked me about my wife and a ring because that does mean something to her. Haggai 2:23. Haggai 2:23. So I was looking at Zechariah. Zechariah, Haggai. Haggai is just a few little pages. So Haggai comes before Zechariah. Maybe. No. Wow. How am I doing this? I can't open it. Here we go. Haggai. It's just like 2 pages. Here we go. 2. 2:23. And I'm just going to the verse, but I like to read around it. On that day, This is the declaration of the Lord of hosts. I will take you, Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, my servant. This is the Lord's declaration, and make you like my signet ring, for I have chosen you. This is the declaration of the Lord of hosts. With her having that experience, her having a name given to her, Zerubbabel, that passage means a lot to her. And me thinking like a man, back when I didn't know I was even looking for Zerubbabel, but I was like asking other people, have you been given a name? Friends of mine, guy friends. I'm thinking like a man, like it's got to be a guy. My wife's told me in the meantime she's been given a name, and I kind of like, yeah, all right, but I'm looking for a guy, right? And then she told me when she wasn't going to tell me the name, she was going to wait till I told her, and then I read about Joshua and Zerubbabel, and then I looked over at her and said, is the name Zerubbabel? Teardrops just started hitting the floor. I mean, I told her the name so she could be assured that that was the name that was given to her. And from that point forward, we had that a huge experience. I can explain the experience, but I don't know, what it's an experience. I would think that a lot of people have the Joshua Zerubbabel name given to them. Different couples. Way Elijah explained it to me, that was 4,000. 4,000 out of the 144 are given this name. But okay, guys. Well, look, I tell you what. I'll see you this evening. Okay, if you guys come back, hang out. We'll try to get quite a bit of a live going and see if we can fill it out. And be sure you tell somebody you love them today. Give them a hug. You know. And I hope to be hugging you guys soon here in the clouds. I love you and have a great day. Okay. Everybody want to say bye to me? Everybody just want me to leave this live up and go on somewhere so y'all can keep talking? Oh, but yeah, I'm gonna get on off here and I'll come back this evening. Hey, no problem. So I'm gonna try to be back on here around 7. Is that good? 7 or 8, is that like anybody got something to do tonight? No, but we'll see how it goes. I love you guys. Bye. And Jesus loves you. All right, Troy Soldier. Talk to you later. Okay, Troy Soldier. Bye, bye, Mickey. Hey, sorry about last night. I know you were in church, and I was on here for like an hour and 20 minutes, and I got to kind of like keep them a little bit shorter, just so people want to watch them. I don't know they want to invest 3 hours in watching, this alive. But I would invest at least an hour. All right, bye, guys.